when I was admitted, which was 1991, no woman had yet been appointed as a judge of the Supreme Court. So it's within my professional life that there were no women on the court, and the court's been going for more than 150 years. And, it must have been extremely difficult for Justice Barmford, Rosemary Barmford, as the first appointed, coming into a court that had never had, the pressure on you. And I think there is the reality that, you have to exceed the expectations because the pressure's on you. And now, as we've moved in to get a much better balance and continually, and, gender doesn't come up on the radar now in appointment. And I think it's interesting that when one looks about the change, I think it's fundamentally changed the culture of the court.
How?
It's hard to sort of say in terms of any particular aspect that's different, but I think the culture of a more inclusive environment is profoundly for the good and profoundly different to one that's just men. And of course, it wasn't just men; it was white men from a very small part of the community, and overwhelmingly they did an exceptionally good job. It was always been regarded as a very strong court, the Supreme Court of Victoria, but they were populated by a very small fraction of the community. And I think we've seen a fundamental cultural change for the best. The transition has taken time, nothing happening for a long period of time, and then even then it seemed slow. And it's still important to keep an eye on whether the court reflects the broader community. And I think one of the things is that there is a change in culture, there's a change in outlook, but there's absolutely no change in the legal decision making. There's no gender in the application of the law. There's no women are more likely to favour this side or this perspective or that side. I don't see that. I don't think any of us see that at all. So it's got nothing to do with the application of the law, but it's got to do with all of the sort of cultural background which we all bring to the role, if you have a variety, you're bringing more different ideas, different strengths, different weaknesses, and I think it's much to the better. I mean, I think one of the things sitting on an appellate court where you're sitting with 3 judges, sitting as one of 3, and sitting as a court where there's 12 judges on the Court of Appeal, you need some creative tension, you need different perspectives, you need not everyone agreeing the same way. How you manage that has to be respectful and collegiate, and since I've been on the court, that's always what I've seen. But your point also about whether we're seeing other diversity, well, we're not yet, and I think part of that is something, it's really important for the reasons we've just discussed to have that diversity. And I have a lot of sympathy for the argument that it's too slow, and opposition to the argument, it can't happen overnight. I mean, it's not overnight we're talking about. The court's been examined for 150 years. But in order to come to the Supreme Court, you need to have, 30 years of practice, 25 years of experience to come. So we've got to see that diversity in the ranks. And I see it in the admission ceremonies every day. I see it across the 150 I sit in a day. You see that visual diversity, what you can observe. And I'm sure that the firms are now having a much more diverse cohort. And that breaks down stereotypes as well. As this particular cohort will act in this particular way or be strong in this area of law or this interest, And I think it will develop. I really do. I think it takes work. I think it takes commitment, but I'm optimistic about it. But I think it's a really important outcome.